Unconventional scrimmages are all the hype in the basketball community. The discourse on one-on-one and three-on-three and its value in a professional setting is a hot topic of conversation, and anything outside of traditional 5-on-5 is being challenged. But what if I told you Larry Bird never liked playing 3-on-3? What if I told you he thought it was a waste of time? I can go out myself and take 1,000 shots anywhere I want. That's not just a quote, that's a mindset from him. A philosophy, a glimpse into the mind of one of the greatest basketball players to ever touch a ball, and the future of the sport itself. The greatest players in NBA history are wired differently. They don't just play differently, they think, train, and prepare on an entirely different level. They find their own way, and they commit to it like their legacy depends on it, because it actually does. Fans marveled at the impossible shots Kobe Bryant would hit in games, the fadeaways, the triple team jumpers, the dagger threes, but most never saw the hours he spent alone, repeating the exact same move 1,000 times over, in an empty gym, with no cameras, no crowd. Michael Jordan, he was often done with his personal training before Bulls practice officially started. Tim Duncan, dubbed the big fundamental because he mastered the boring stuff so deeply it became beautiful. And LeBron James, the first one in the gym and often the last one to leave, even in his 20s, 30s, and now in his 40s. These aren't just routines, these are obsessions. And Larry Bird, he was right there with them. Bird didn't waste time, that was his thing. If it wasn't game-like, if it wasn't useful, he wasn't interested. While many players swore by scrimmages, especially 3-on-3, Bird flat out refused. Why, you might ask? Because for him, it just didn't make sense. He said, and I quote, "You can play 3-on-3 for an hour and a half and maybe you'll take 100 shots. I can go out myself at the same time and take 1,000 shots anywhere I want." That's from Mark Shaw's book, Larry Legend. When you stop and think about that, that's 1,000 shots every day alone. Bird believed in rhythm, in repetition, and in simulating game-like movements without the noise, without distractions, without variables. Scrimmages, they were messy, they were uncontrolled, they involved teammates taking bad shots or messing up spacing. To him, that wasn't basketball, that was actually chaos. He wasn't trying to simulate chaos, he was trying to simulate perfection. What's fascinating is Bird wasn't and isn't alone. LeBron James, arguably the most complete player in modern NBA history, has echoed similar sentiments. Despite being one of the most dominant one-on-one players ever, LeBron doesn't like playing one-on-one, or 3-on-3, or anything that isn't full 5-on-5 or highly focused individual skill work. In his words, it's not real basketball.
Everyone now, it's a narrative of this thing called, I have a bag, or he doesn't have a bag. It bothers the fuck out of me. Everyone thinks just because you get a favorable matchup that it means it's one-on-one time. Let's play ones. That's all you hear the kids talk about now. You wanna play ones? You wanna play ones? What the fuck is this? This is not Jordan versus Bird, Nintendo. Like, it's 5-on-5.
He's not interested in showing off his bag. He's interested in winning, in understanding systems, in elevating others, in watching film, in preparing for what actually happens in NBA games, not what looks cool in a highlight reel. And much like Bird, LeBron believes that obsessive, deliberate repetition is the key. Whether it's shooting, footwork, decision-making, the best know exactly what they're training and why. But not everyone agrees. Kevin Durant, another all-time scorer, has said the opposite. Scrimmaging is how he developed. He loves the freedom, the flow, the feel of live basketball. It allows him to improvise, test new moves, read defenses, and sharpen his instincts in real time. And he's not wrong either. That's the beauty of this conversation. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. The greats all get to greatness in different ways. Some by repetition, some by flow, some by grinding in isolation. Others by simulating chaos. Bird didn't need a defender in his face to get better. Durant did. And yet, both found ways to dominate the game because they leaned into what worked for them. And here's the ironic part in all of this. The same 3-on-3 format Bird once dismissed, it's now an official Olympic sport. That's right, 3-on-3 basketball made its Olympic debut in Tokyo 2020. It's fast, it's physical, it's explosive, and it's grown into a legitimate, structured version of the game with international stars and professional circuits. Would Bird have seen it differently if this version existed back in the 80s? Maybe, maybe not. Remember, Olympic 3-on-3 basketball has different rules, a 12-second shot clock, a single-point scoring system, and a lot of improvisation. It's not NBA basketball, and knowing Bird's obsession with game simulation, he probably would have still preferred to grind in silence. Still, it makes you wonder. Bird made a compelling point about volume, about getting up more reps, more shots, more movements in the same amount of time. But there's something 3-on-3 offers that individual drills can't replicate. Decision making under pressure, help defense, switching, mismatches, reading angles, and most importantly, reacting to the unpredictable. It's not just about hoisting up shots, it's about learning when to shoot, how to move, where to cut, how to play off others in a different environment. And here's the kicker, Larry Bird was still elite at all of that. He was one of the smartest off-ball movers in NBA history. He knew where to be, when to be there, and how to make you pay for a single mistake, whether he had the ball or not. So even though he didn't train in 3-on-3 environments, Bird instinctively understood those principles, and maybe that's what separates legends from the rest. They don't need to simulate every scenario, they just know what to do when it happens. With 3-on-3 now firmly established, could one-on-one basketball be next? Well, it's possible given the traction on social media especially. There's already demand, fans crave it, social media, as I mentioned, eats it up. Imagine official one-on-one tournaments featuring the NBA's best scorers. KD, Tatum, Booker, Luka, Kyrie, all in ISO battles. Maybe we're not far off one-on-one becoming a televised, sanctioned format in the same way 3-on-3 or the Big Three is now. Maybe it'll develop into its own sport with its own rules, pace, and strategy. Would that have made Bird a believer in unconventional scrimmages? Probably not. But does he need to be? Absolutely not. Because whether it's 1-on-1, 3-on-3, 5-on-5, or just an empty gym with nothing but a ball and a hoop, the great ones always find a way. Larry Bird found his way, he shot, he studied, he visualized, he dominated without scrimmages. LeBron found his way, Durant found his, Jordan, Duncan, Kobe, Giannis, Steph, and every legend in between creates a blueprint that works for them and sticks to it with religious discipline. So sure, Bird didn't like 3-on-3, and maybe he'd never lace up for a 1-on-1 tournament. But his results, well, they speak for themselves. 3-time MVP, NBA champion, Hall of Famer, and basketball icon. And if someone like Larry Bird tells you that he can get more done in an empty gym with 1,000 shots than in a scrimmage, you don't argue. You listen, you learn, and maybe you get your own shots up too. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you agree with Larry Bird and LeBron's approach to training? Or are you more in the Kevin Durant camp, where scrimmaging is the best way to grow? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dive NBA storytelling, legacy breakdowns, and the conversations that matter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.